In-game economies can be one of the hardest things to balance. Unlike an individual level, which can be easily changed without creating any waves, the economy is persistent throughout the entire playthrough, so even the smallest adjustments can have a huge domino effect. Maybe it's too hard to earn money, or the prices are too high, and the game becomes a major grind. Or maybe there's some sort of market exploit that allows you to gain insane amounts of money so quickly, things may as well cost nothing. I think I first became aware of the idea that in-game economies could be flawed during my first playthrough of the otherwise great Ocarina of Time. In that game, it's satisfying to slowly add to your rupee total by cutting grass, finding secrets, and opening chests. But unfortunately, there's almost nothing worthwhile to buy in the game. Shops mainly contain stuff you can already find lying around in the bushes, or special items you already get elsewhere for free as part of the story. Your money pretty much goes toward a new shield or magic beans.
Leave the telescope.
For a great in-game economy, you need two things: a good feeling when you obtain money, and a good feeling when you spend it. Ocarina's economy failed because it checked off one box, but didn't give you the opportunity to check off the other. The greatly anticipated Hollow Knight Silksong, for many people, doesn't check either box. Before I continue, you should know that this is not a video complaining about difficulty. Although some of the runbacks in this game can be tedious, yeah, the runbacks can be tedious, but I found the combat, platforming, and boss fights to be thrilling, challenging, fair, and memorable. I have issues with the currency system for totally separate reasons. I also want to say that I'm not part of the community of Hollow Knight fans who obsessed over Silksong updates so aggressively that Silk posting became Oxford's Word of the Year in 2021. I was looking forward to the game, but I wasn't spending my free time refreshing pages. And there's nothing wrong with that either. You're watching a video from a guy who refreshed the Smash Bros. Brawl dojo at 3 a.m. every weeknight of 2007, waiting for the Mega Man reveal that never came.
We're gonna have fun with this thing.
Now, I played Hollow Knight once a few years ago, I enjoyed it, and based on that goodwill, I've decided to check out the sequel. And for the most part, I'm enjoying Silksong. I feel that same sense of cautious curiosity when exploring these new areas. I like that Hornet feels different, and although the angled dive and burst dash can feel a bit slippery, I've already seen the potential for some really graceful platforming and silky smooth combat. And it goes without saying the music, sound design, and visuals are just as good as they've ever been. But what made me stop playing and put out this video, besides the fact that I haven't heard her say a single time, is this game's economy, which, as many people have pointed out, is a mess. And that's surprising to me because I recall the first game not only having a pretty good economy, but a great one that definitely checks off both of those two boxes. In Hollow Knight, collecting money was one of the most enjoyable things you could do, and there were tons of ways to do it. My favorite thing to do was to hack a box to shreds and have Geo explode all over the floor. Every enemy had their stomachs lined with it, you get showered with cash for rescuing grubs, and the environment seemed to be filled with it. In Silksong, there are two currencies now: shell shards, which are like your ammo and repairs currency, and rosary beads, which are like your cash for upgrades currency.
Bees?
Beads.
Beads?
In general, you're constantly wanting for beads and flush with shells, unless you've been stuck on a boss for hours or something. In isolation, I think the shell shard system is a great inclusion, and I like how it makes Hornet feel different to the Knight. The issue is that when you're earning shells, you're not earning beads. They didn't create twice as many opportunities to earn. Instead, they split the earning opportunities among two currencies. Fewer ways to earn the currency you want means trying to earn that currency becomes more of a grind. In Hollow Knight, if you were starving for Geo, there were many ways to get more. If you're out of beads, you have to grind specific enemies and specific rooms. Also, can I just say, what the hell is this? If the beads or shells touch spikes, they get instantly destroyed, right? So why did the devs place these here? Can someone explain to me how you're supposed to collect these? I have the magnet equipped. Am I being trolled? What exactly is the point of this tunnel? Rewards when defeating bosses feel like the biggest blunder. The lack of fanfare is borderline confusing, as if you're waiting for another phase to the fight that never comes. At one point, I actually doubled back and checked the boss room again because I couldn't believe that nothing happened. When you finally beat a boss in Hollow Knight and money poured out like a piñata, or a room with a bunch of treasure opened up, it felt like you had overcome a huge milestone and the game was throwing you a party. And if it wasn't Geo, it was a character upgrade or a special item or dream bucks. The rewards in Silksong, like a path opening up or a bell unlocking 1/5 of a door you don't know exists yet, are rewards that feel disconnected from the fight. These arena-style fights don't drop any beads either. I can tell right away when it's an arena fight because enemies that were dropping beads left and right suddenly stop dropping them when they're in this special room. Why don't the enemies in these arena fights carry beads on them? Is that part of the lore that you have to check your beads at the door? Why have all the factions in this game agreed on this rule? Did these rooms have, like, security checkpoints or something? Where are the beads?
Okay. Not gonna help, the hitting.
Again, this isn't about difficulty here. If a game removes the fanfare from a victory, does that make the preceding struggle harder? I mean, seriously, is there something wrong with getting showered with gold and feeling like a hero? Come on. And, if Hornet doesn't want to be a hero and her character is too cool for school, should that affect whether or not her enemies explode into coins?
Hey!
Okay. Let's take a break from the cash earning discussion and focus on the spending. So how exactly can spending money feel bad? Well, if you've ever gotten a paycheck, you know how bad it feels to have a chunk of your hard-earned money go toward taxes and pension and all that. That's really what Silksong is all about. Taxation.
Here's the real world.
It costs money to sit down. It costs money for maps. It costs money to staple money to your body. It costs money to open the settings. It costs money to open this shop door. Realize you spent all your money opening the door and can't buy anything inside, then have the door relock behind you when you leave. Minus 30, I guess. But wait, I'm not being fair here. Maps, fast travel, even a few benches cost money in Hollow Knight. So what's the problem? Why does it feel so much worse in this game? Why are so many people complaining? While it's true there are way more benches you have to pay for in this game, to me, the real issue is a lack of expendable income. It seems like every time I discover a new vendor or town, I don't have enough money to buy anything. In Hollow Knight, even after losing tons of Geo to stupid mistakes, I still felt like I could browse the shops regularly, buy a couple of things, and progress my character during downtime. There's just not as many ways to earn money in Silksong, so a higher percentage of that paycheck is immediately going toward those priority one things, like benches, fast travel, and maps. Buying these things in Hollow Knight was barely an inconvenience. In Silksong, you're basically handing over your wallet.
A spool extender. Oh, these are so expensive. She really does have a mind for a deal. Oh my gosh, these prices?
Finding a new town or safe place should generally be a relaxing, comforting feeling. Obviously, not all towns should be like this. Sometimes you want the feeling that something went wrong or whatever, but for the most part, it's fair to say that the rest of the game is fraught with tension, uncertainty, high-paced action, and occasional frustration. So finding a safe corner of the world where you can take stock, upgrade your character, and spend the cash you fought to earn is important to maintaining the ebb and flow of the game. But when you get there and find out you can barely afford one thing, or sometimes not afford anything, because all your money has gone toward bench and fast travel taxes, it feels bad. You want to be relaxing and reflecting, but instead you're staring longingly into a candy shop window. Team Cherry had a vision for this game, and I respect them for doing what they felt was best. They did not want this game to feel exactly like Hollow Knight, and I'm not talking about the pogo. They must have intended Act 1 to feel disproportionately penniless and lacking in options.
Please take it.
Then, as the tide turns in the story and more intelligent and high society enemies come into play, money becomes easier to obtain. Maybe it was meant to immerse you in the story and get you to feel the struggle that Hornet feels. Maybe this worked for a lot of people, but I gotta say, it didn't immerse me in the story. I was constantly removing myself from the world to think about game design, game systems, and Team Cherry's intent. It left me feeling confused, not desperate. It also made me feel like I could never recommend this game to any of my friends, despite enjoying it a lot. The satisfaction of grinding, training, and finally beating a boss is very strong in this game. Strong enough to push people like me into the later stages where the game really gets fleshed out. But for my office worker friend who barely has time to squeeze in a couple Counter-Strike games on the weekend, the game is just too relentlessly oppressive, and the economy is a big part of that. I think the simplest solution would be to just have a few bosses drop beads, or have a boss treasure room of some kind. Doesn't make sense for them to drop beads in the lore? Well then change the lore. How about this? The beads can be like trophies taken from pilgrims who have entered their domain. Or hey, maybe they just like collecting shiny things, you know? At the very least, these enemies who drop beads during normal gameplay should definitely drop them in the arena fights. There's some smaller changes you could consider, like making more enemies drop beads or remove a couple bench tools, but honestly, I think having a bigger fanfare when a boss is finally taken down is a nice way to swipe 2 bugs with 1 needle. Lastly, I want to stress that I have really been enjoying Silksong overall. I know this video has been mostly negative, but with a game like this where so many pieces fit together so perfectly, tiny issues can really stand out and stick in your mind. And when you spend so much of your time running back to boss rooms, it gives you a lot of time to think. You can give me more time to think up new videos by liking and subscribing. I'm a small, part-time creator who would love to spend more time making videos. Sharing, liking, and subscribing helps me to do that. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on Silksong. What kind of changes you'd like to see, when did you break your controller, and what happened to Shaw? Huge thank you to this month's patrons, with a special shout out to Nick Fiore. Joining gets you access to exclusive monthly videos, interviews with developers, and behind the scenes content. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.